Hey, great folk, Dorian Carter here. Hey, want to jump in a little bit and talk a little bit about lease negotiation tips for commercial real estate investors. So I had the privilege, I guess, at the time, right when the market died, I had an opportunity to do some contract work, 7 in that period of time. It was just tough in commercial real estate. I hung in there. But I went through a few thousand leases, mostly retail, a little bit of office, all across the country. And man, I tell you, it was work, but I learned so much about leasing, which in my opinion is done best by corporations. And so you learn, because you learn what those corporate real estate attorneys do to get advantage. So I want to jump in here and help, and I want to do this in two parts here. And first, lease negotiation and commercial real estate is like strategizing in the game. It really is. You got to have a strategy going in. You got to have effective tactics, and those tactics can significantly impact the success of your business. And so let's talk about a few tips to look into. So understand your objectives going in, and it's hard to do that unless you got a business plan that makes sense for your business, because the lease should fit in and marry with that business plan. You don't overpay, plus you're not locating in the wrong location. So clearly define the objectives. Before you go into negotiations, understanding the lease terms, rates, specific requirements, know your goals. And here's the thing is, most of the time, if you're first time going into a lease, or even if you in your second or third time, things change in the market. And the vast majority of people they'll go out, look at a property and say, I love the location, and they call the broker on the door. The broker on the door represents the landowner. So we're talking about from the investment standpoint. This is important. Most landowners are going to have somebody professional. So these are things you need to know. And so if you're a person that's leasing or going out there and leasing, now you can understand and just look at what I'm talking about and understand the importance of it. Second is the researching comparable properties. It's so important to understand how your property is compared to other properties so it's properly valued. And so here you want to be able to understand not only comparables, but also what's the trend in the market as it concerns, valuation, what's happening, what's the growth, market trends. You're able to position your property for success. Third is build a positive relationship with team building. Know that the property manager is important to the valuation of the property. Yes, but so is a broker knowing how to properly price your property. So you're leasing and you're competitive in the market because your focus is getting the right tenants in there that's going to consistently pay you rent on time, but be able to be successful in business. So keep that in mind, keep a focus around that. Third is a positive relationship with your team members. Always keeping good communication with your team members as well as your tenants. And one of the things I'll tell people is you need to do a spot check send somebody else to do a spot check to businesses out there. Do a spot check to find out what the businesses believe, understand, and think about the property manager. So always keeping a positive relationship is crucial for tenant and having long-term tenant success. 4, flexibility and creativity. So, man, people are doing some great things. What you see now a lot too is even if you got restaurants in a retail strip center or office building, they're bringing in food vendors, food trucks, and having events. Man, you got to be creative in these, on these projects and allowing for businesses to do more that won't change or significantly impact another competitor or you. So flexible lease terms, smart escalation clauses, shared cost arrangements. I call it percentage rent. I know tenants don't like it, but hey, if you can give a lesser lease rate, but then take a percentage of their sales when they're doing well, it could be a positive for both sides. So having some flexibility in your leasing structure without significantly impacting your bottom line, right? So we don't want to do that. Next is consider tenant improvements. Negotiate tenant improvements for enhance the property's appeal. It's like, upgrading. Offer improvements, customizations can attract quality tenants and justify premium rents. So a good strategy is a lot of times businesses do not have the capital it takes to build out properties or spaces properly. And so you want to look at how you as a building landowner, can benefit off of that. How can you position them that already will be building out the space or might be constructing the space? How can you help a tenant by charging a premium rent with some consideration around you building the space out and getting it in that way? And remember, you may not know, but I want to put that in your head that cost segregation, which is talked about in one of the other courses here, is important. It's a tax write-off that you get by doing work, and depreciation is called accelerated depreciation because you can do that on different parts and benefit you as the landowner. And so that's an excellent way to be able to charge a premium rent, pay for tenant improvements for a tenant, but also allowing yourself a write-off, which puts you in an even better position. So, number 6, clearly define the lease term. There is nothing worse than a tenant not understanding the lease terms and then you get into a disagreement. And so those lease terms, obligations, responsibilities is important for each party. And then so as a property owner, you want to make sure that is clearly understood with the tenant. And so therein lies the problems that run into where property managers may not be very clear or may not have reviewed the lease properly with the tenant and the tenant's representative. So we see this a lot, and so they have to be clear. Everybody has to be clear. And so these are the first 6. This is part 1, tenant negotiation tips for real estate investors, which is the property owner, the landlord. Join me on the next part 2. Thanks.